Hey guys, welcome back. Now in the last video we talked about having multiple smaller plots on a property. In this case, I wanted to talk about having a larger destination plot. This client has a large field in the back of the property that he's currently planting, and it offers some benefits over having micro plots. Number one, you can provide more tonnage for your herd, and in particular, if you're in an area where you don't have any neighboring crop fields, there are no other large destination food sources, you can provide a lot of food, obviously using a lot of acreage to plant. Number two, bucks might feel more comfortable stepping out into the open in a food plot where deer are already feeding. So let's say, you had some does come into this back corner and they're already feeding out here in the open. Maybe you had some deer come in here and they're feeding out in the open. Let's say you have a buck that he's coming in from the bottom of this draw and he's working his way up to this plot. He gets to this edge and he sees does up here and a small buck or two down here, and they're not running off, they're not skittish in any way. He's much more likely to step out in the open and start feeding because those deer are already there. So if this client is sitting in the blind here and these deer are already feeding and this mature buck steps out, he's going to have a good shot opportunity. Another thing with having large plots is you're likely to see more deer. The more acreage you can provide, the more deer are going to be feeding in it. And so when you're in the stand, you're likely to see deer. You also might get the benefit of knowing where that mature buck is coming from. You might be able to pinpoint it. So again, if this buck was coming from the bottom of this draw and he works his way up here, you know that he's coming somewhere in this vicinity. Maybe you put a camera, maybe you do some scouting, you backtrack where he came from, and you might figure out he's bedding right over here. You know what winds to hunt, you know which direction to expect him coming from. It definitely gives some benefit that a microplot may not tell you. Now, one of the drawbacks to having a larger plot is you may get fewer shot opportunities depending on your choice of weapon. If you were bow hunting and you were in the same blind and you had a mature buck come in and enter in this corner, and you may be able to see him, but you can't take a shot that long. You might be able to with a rifle. If you had a buck enter in this narrow section here and he's 50 yards away, that's too far for most people to shoot with a bow. But by having those longer distances, you're going to decrease the amount of shot opportunities you might potentially get. So the larger plots, they have benefits over some of the micro plots, but they also have some drawbacks. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of what to look for if you're thinking about creating a larger destination plot. That might be your best option, but in some cases, smaller micro plots might be a better option. Maybe breaking up a large field like this into smaller chunks, smaller food plots. But just gives you something to think about. Stay tuned as we continue this series on food plots, where we're going to talk about perennial plots, annual plots, and we'll even get into some bottomland or wetland specific food plots.